guys, welcome back to the Funny Thing Is podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Birch, where every week we bring you a guest who shares a life-changing event, the medicine they took to get better, and the funniest lesson they learned along the way. Today is no exception. You guys, today I have a guest who has an absolutely insane story, and I think we're going to learn a lot from it. Welcome to the show, Carla Reading.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Yay. How are you?
Yeah, no, I heard your story. We met through my sister-in-law, which we actually just physically met, you and I. And she was telling me the story, and I was like, there's no way that happened. And then I looked it up and oh my God, it did. So would you like to share your version of that story?
Yeah. Basically in 2017, I was kidnapped and raped by a fake Uber driver. He was actually, he did drive for Uber and Lyft, but he was just off duty. This was right before Me Too. I found out I was one of 7 victims that we know of later on.
Right.
So yeah, it was just a very wild experience. Something I never thought that I would, go through.
How old were you?
I was 27, I want to say 27, 28.
Baby. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I had just moved here a year and a half prior.
No.
Yeah. So this is my introduction to LA.
Oh no.
Yeah. But I was out for a friend of a friend's birthday.
Okay.
And my boyfriend at the time didn't drink. So I think just by nature being around him, I also wasn't really. So I think my tolerance is way down. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things. Not that has anything to do with it.
It's not an excuse, right?
It's not an excuse. But yes, there were many factors at play and didn't eat that much that day. And at the end of the night, I became separated from my friends. And I remember calling my boyfriend, asking him to pick me up. And I remember he just told me to just get an Uber. So I got an Uber. And then a car pulled up that I thought was my Uber, and I got in.
Did it by chance have like the Uber stickers and the Lyft stickers?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So this was a whole ploy that they were doing.
Yeah.
They were hanging out around bars. When
it was
they were closing.
intentional.
It was
sure.
very much like an operation.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the thing is we take Uber and Lyft all the time, and I don't think people really think twice.
No.
And I've had so many friends since this happened say, oh my gosh, I got into the wrong Uber before. And, they got into a car that they thought was theirs and they were like, excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's,
I see it all the time, by the way, at LAX.
Right.
When they do the carpet, when they all line up and stuff, it's so easy.
Right.
Yeah.
And I always say we all have a lapse in judgment. Mine was just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Right.
Right. Luckily they weren't in the car with a rapist, a serial rapist.
Right.
So I got in the car and I remember giving him the address to my boyfriend's place. I thought he was just confirming it. And he started driving and I fell asleep in the back seat, as I've heard many people have done before.
Oh, yeah.
And
I'll sleep all the way to LAX. Yeah.
I know, exactly.
It's a long ride.
Well,
yeah.
hopefully not anymore.
No,
not
I
anymore.
don't. No,
Yeah,
now, I mean, now because I've heard of stories like this, or you've heard of other
Yeah.
things. And then there was a girl who was murdered by a fake Uber driver.
Yeah.
After that, you start screenshotting everything, sending it like, this is who my driver is. Then you check the license plates. Like at LAX before, I'd just be like, blue car. And now I'm like, oh, license plate. Is it the right,
Yes. Who are you here for?
But it's because this stuff had to happen for us to get to that point.
Yeah, for sure. And also the app isn't exactly totally safe. Like there's a lot of holes in it. There's a lot of things that could improve. I'll get into that later. But yeah, so I fell asleep and I woke up and we were parked somewhere and he was banging my head against the seat. So I immediately was dead sober. Complete fight or flight mode, mind just spiraling, like what's happening, stops, like get off me, stop it. So I was fighting as hard as I possibly could. And I'm a strong girl.
Right.
I fought extremely hard for a few minutes until I realized, okay, the harder I'm fighting, the more hurt I'm getting.
Right.
This is not going to work. I need to flip tactics and make this guy feel as calm and comfortable as possible, because if he thinks for 1 second that I'm going to go to the cops, then he's going to kill me.
Yeah.
So it just became all about this weird.
I think that's really like instinctual. Like there have been like scary situations where I'm like, oh, just be the calmest person in the room. Change their energy. Yeah.
Yeah. And you just have to. Yeah. It's a weird thing you have to do to survive, and just make them think that you're their friend almost.
Right.
Like, okay, like, fine, we're here. Like, what do you want? Just kind of like, all right. And just trying to make up for your physical strength with your mental strength.
Right.
That was a big part that I didn't really realize till after. Is it's so much about control and power, and if you can convey that power and strength in other ways by just still having your personality, being sassy, being like, all right, fine, like calm down, geez, you know,
right? Because it seems authentic, right?
Yeah, and so then I was raped, and it was terrible, and I was completely disassociated, went someplace else, and was imagining my parents getting the call that I was killed. And my God. I thought of the fact that I never had any children. Like at that time, kids weren't even on my radar.
Right.
But when you're faced with a moment where you think it could be your last day, you really realize what is the most important things in life and what you really do want out of life at the end of the day.
Right.
If your life were to end today, what would, I never really realized, kids, I never had kids. I never continued my legacy, right. And that was one of those things that popped in my head. Like I never had kids. And then near the end of the assault, I could tell he was kind of starting to panic, kind of starting to wonder, like, okay, what next?
Right.
What's going to happen after this? And I imagined at that point that he was going to knock me unconscious, because what else would you do? I could see his face.
Right.
He wasn't covered up or anything.
So what did the guy, what did he look like? How old was he?
He was about mid-40s.
Oh my God.
He was in a sweatsuit. I found out later that he had a wife and 3 daughters.
Shut up.
So that was crazy.
God.
Yeah.
That's wild. How long did the whole thing last?
So I was in his car for 3 hours.
How long of that was the attack? The physical.
Who even knows? It felt like forever.
Right.
It felt like it was so long. It was long. I remember it was long. It was probably 30 to 45 minutes.
Jesus.
And then we ended up having a therapy session afterwards.
Okay.
That was a majority of the car ride.
Okay.
So going back to what I was saying before, when I had a feeling that he was panicking, didn't know what to do next.
Right.
So that's when, out of nowhere, I remembered a Grey's Anatomy episode that I saw years ago. It's so funny how you store things in the back of your mind, and then
when they say your life flashes before your eyes, the reason it flashes before your eyes is because your brain is literally trying to find something as fast as possible in your history that can save your life.
Yeah,
that's what it's doing. So yeah. I totally get that.
Yeah. So I remember seeing a Grey's Anatomy episode where, did you ever watch Grey's Anatomy?
Season 1.
Yeah, I watched just random bits and pieces of it, but there was a shooter scene in the hospital where one of the nurses was held at gunpoint. Mm-hmm. And it was a super intense, very famous scene where he held her at gunpoint and she basically just started rambling about her life. She's like, I have 2 sisters. I have a husband named John, just rambling. And that's what I did. So I said, I moved here a year and a half ago. I have a cat named Charlie. I have a sister who's an architect. Yeah. I have a boyfriend named Frank,
Yeah.
Shout out Frank. Great guy.
Yeah.
And I remember he said, what are you, a psychology major? And I was like, no, actually I was a theater major. I was a double major in theater and art technology. And then from there, it just started this bizarre therapy session where he just started rambling about his life. He told me he was the oldest of 4 boys. One of his brothers was a cop. I found out later that all of it was lies.
Oh, but weird.
Yeah. I mean, he was trying to get me to trust him. So we both had very clear objectives.
Right.
My objective was for him to think that I wasn't going to go to the cops so he could just relax.
Yeah.
I
just want to get out of here.
Yeah. I just want to go home, go to sleep, you know? And his objective was for me to think he was a good guy so that I wouldn't go to the cops, So he was just we were both just playing our roles.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And
because you would think, I would almost think that he'd unload and tell you the truth, but actually, no, yeah.
And I believed him. That's a funny thing. Because it was so convincing. Because he ended up crying, and it was it was a therapy session. He wanted me to think he was a good guy, and I'm sure he was a very damaged person, and that's kind of the biggest takeaway that I had from this experience is, oh wow, someone could do a horrible thing, but they're still a human being. Clearly, there's been something that led up to this point. Right. And that's not to give them any excuses, but I believe if we cast aside these people as monsters, we don't really move on. We don't really get to the root of the problem and solve the problem and move forward as a society.
Right.
You know, it's just too easy to cast them aside as monsters and just move on with your day. And that doesn't really solve anything at the end of the day.
Right.
But yeah, he really like fooled me there, and he was crying, and he's like, oh, this is so messed up. This is rape. Like, have you ever been raped before? I was like, no. Have you ever raped anyone before? He said, no. Obviously a lie.
Obviously a lie. Oh man.
Yeah. And just all these
like
things.
The confidence to be like, no, this is definitely when he's clearly like scouting out places.
Yeah, definitely. And
were you in Hollywood? I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I know. Don't go to Hollywood. No, I'm just
that's where anytime I've gotten into messy situations, I'm always like, it's Hollywood.
It's Hollywood, right? And I was never in that area ever at that point. It was just a place I don't usually go to. Yeah. But he was just trying to like victim blame me, like get in my head and have me think that it was my fault. He's like, oh, this is so messed up. Why were you alone? Where were your friends? And the whole time I was just like, I kind of played along because I was like, oh, I'm just a broken little fawn.
Yeah.
But deep down I knew what he was trying to do. And I was like, this has nothing to do with me. This is everything to do with you.
Yeah, don't gaslight me.
Right. But I mean, but most people, they really do blame themselves. That's a huge issue in sexual assault culture.
Right, absolutely.
But then again, most assaults aren't a complete stranger where it's easy to blame the other person.
Right.
Most of the times, like 9 out of 10, it's somebody you know and trust.
Family member or something, yeah.
Yeah, so it's way, I'm going to give them a lot of credit because it's a lot different in that situation compared to mine.
So what happened? How did you get out of it? Like, when did he?
So basically this therapy session is going on and going on and going on. I'm in this car for like 2 hours at this point after the assault. And I remember just kind of trying to wager with him, like telling him like, I really need to go to the bathroom. Do you want me to pee in your car? I'm completely naked at this point in this back seat. He has all my belongings in the front seat. He's calling me by my first name. He has my phone, my wallet, everything. And I remember he told me he had a knife or something. He's like, don't even think about trying to get out of the car. And he had the doors locked, obviously, so I couldn't get out. But I was just wagering with him, like I was just saying, like, yes, this is because messed up what you did, because he was showing signs of guilt. I said, yes, this is messed up what you did, but it'd be worse if you were to not let me go right now. And he understood that. And he said, okay, you know what? I want to take you to where you said you were going and take you to your boyfriend's place. So here I am thinking, this guy's going to drive me to like a warehouse somewhere and he's going to kill me.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, if I just did this all for you, I want his address on your phone. I want to see that we're making all the right turns, because I had no clue where we were.
Right.
And so he had me laying down in the back seat, and I was just eyes glued to the GPS, making sure we were making all the right turns. And then he pulled up near an alley by my ex-boyfriend, my boyfriend's at the time's place. And I did the same thing. I just said, okay, if I just did this for you, I want everything. I want my phone. I want my purse. I want my wallet. I want my clothes. I want everything. Again, trying to make up for that physical strength with your mental strength, and just, basically acting like if I get all this stuff, I'm not going to go to the cops,
Right.
Right. And he did. He let me have everything. And I could not believe the whole time. I was like, there's no way this guy's going to let me go. There's no way. I've seen his face. He's admitted that this is rape. This is a clear.
He knows what it was.
Yeah. And so he put my phone on a stump far away so I wouldn't turn around and take a picture of his license plate. And I just got dressed, grabbed my things, and got out of the car. And he just zoomed off. And I didn't even look back to look at his license plate, because I didn't even want to give him a reason to see in his rearview mirror,
and turn around.
And turn around, and then he's got to kill me, So I just was not even looking back. Yeah.
Oh, man. So when you get to your boyfriend's house, what's your I mean, I can't even imagine what that conversation is.
Yeah. I called him when I was in the alley, and I was keeping my cool for 3 hours, like trying to seem like I had it all together. Like, all right. What do you want? Trying to be sassy and like, okay, if I did this for you, I think you just need therapy, And then it just all came grumbling down. I was like stuttering and stammering, and I had a fat lip. My hair was crazy. I had like blood going down my neck from this like earpiece piercing that I just had. And I was all just, my clothes were disheveled, and I called him and I was just stuttering. I couldn't even get a word out. And he came down to meet me, and he said he knew just by looking at me what happened to me.
Oh, God.
And this is 3 o'clock in the morning, or no, 5 o'clock in the morning at this point. And so I remember he called 911, and the ambulance came, and it was just this whole thing.
Thank God. Smart.
So
thank
we just
God.
took the ambulance to the hospital, and then began a whole other chapter.
Yeah. So they do a rape kit.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to skip ahead too much.
Oh, go ahead.
How, from that point to when you find out you're one of 7, or there's 7 other victims?
One of 7 that we know of.
So there's at least 6 other victims.
Yeah, they got the rape kit done, which is super rare to even get that.
That's what I was going to say. Most people, they go home, they shower, yeah.
That's what I wanted to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And that makes sense because you're like, get it off me.
Yeah. And I just wanted to sleep. It was 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I just wanted to cuddle up in a ball but we had to do
I'm glad you didn't. I'm glad you didn't though.
Yeah.
So how long between that day and then you finding out that there's other victims?
Ooh.
I know I'm skipping ahead so much.
No, it was probably like a year.
Really? So that whole year you're just thinking it was just you.
Yeah. I thought it was just me, and dealt with so many things. Just from the law enforcement not believing me, which is a whole other thing that I couldn't even believe. I was like, there's no chance for anybody else, basically. I was like, I'm like an educated white woman. Like, and it was a complete attack. You know what I mean? It was a very black and white situation.
Right.
So if there's no hope for me, there's truly no hope for anyone. Yeah. So it was very eye-opening, and I became very passionate just about just advocacy for survivors in general after that point. And it was just
I think it's so interesting that it's 2025, and I will still somebody will share something on social media, like a sexual assault story, and the comments are like, why didn't you go to the police? Or why didn't you leave your husband? Or why didn't you?
Yeah, why was she wearing that?
I'm like, dude, Law and Order SVU has been on for 30, 40 years. Every episode is the reason why. Are you joking? That's absolutely why.
Yeah.
It's because they're not believed. Then they're completely shit on publicly.
Yeah. That's why most people don't come forward, because it's a nightmare once you do.
Yeah. I know several. The fact that I know several women, I'm at least over 5 women that have there's some date rapes, but then there's pinned down, forced, and none of them have ever, that's insane.
And that's why my situation is so rare too, because we found him. He's actually in jail now for the rest of his life.
Hell yeah. Skip to that ending.
I know.
Dude,
Spoiler.
Fuck that guy.
I know. It's crazy though, because I don't hate him. I really don't. And I gave a victim impact statement in court, and I told him that I forgave him, because it was an eye-opening experience seeing that vulnerable side. And obviously that could have all been a facade and a mask, and he was playing a role. I get it. But, people don't become a certain way for no reason.
Right.
And you kind of have to face that truth too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How is that was 8 years ago almost?
Oh my gosh.
Ish, something like that.
Yeah.
Does it feel like yesterday, or does it feel like a lifetime ago? A little bit of both.
It feels, a little bit like both. It feels like yesterday, but yeah, it's been some time too. Yeah.
What was that first year like? I'm thinking PTSD. How did you, because I've read the articles and I've watched it, and it's you were able to compartmentalize, which a lot of people aren't able to, but some of that, you still have to process it, right? Because otherwise you're just doing toxic positivity where you're I'm fine. Everything's great. And you're what is it called when you're in a pink clouding it? You're everything's great.
Yeah.
Everything's fine now. Yeah. No problem.
No, it was so bizarre. That's the best way I can explain it. So right after the assault, I was so ecstatic to be alive.
Right.
That I was on cloud 9. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm alive. This is amazing. Maybe I will have kids someday, this. It was just, I was so happy to be alive. And then I told my boss what I was nannying at the time. I just moved here. I was doing the nanny acting thing. And I told my nanny boss that what happened to me. I was like, I probably, my family flew in to be with me, and I probably need like a few days off, you know. I was like, I'm fine, I feel fine, but like I should probably take a few days off. And she was like, actually, I think we're gonna let you go.
No.
Not so sure. You might be more emotionally damaged than you think. I talked to a male cop friend of mine, and he said that certain, you know, sexual assault victims are usually very damaged for a long time. So we're probably just gonna let you go. So I lost my job.
Oh my God.
And I've heard this so many times from survivors that most of the times what they deal with after the assault is actually more damaging than the assault itself. Mm-hmm. And I totally agree.
Yeah.
I lost my job 2 days after I was raped. So I had no source of income. My whole world was flipped upside down. Then I found out I wasn't believed by law enforcement. They weren't really trying to find my assaulter.
They just had it. They were just waiting for his DNA to come back. And
they were. It was clear that and I got the police report back where they actually did accuse me of lying. They said her story kept changing. And the thing is, so right after you've been assaulted, and there's this thing you'll learn about the trauma, the psychology of trauma and the neurobiology of trauma, your brain stores all the puzzle pieces in different areas of your brain to protect yourself. Mm-hmm. That's why some people won't remember certain details, and later on it comes back. Yep. I kept telling the same story, but I just kept remembering more details and adding in more things. Yeah. So they took that as an opportunity to accuse me of lying, which was so heartbreaking to find out months later when we were trying to find him, and I got a sketch done of him, and only to find out the people that I thought were here to support us and that they're here to serve and protect weren't doing that. And this is not an anti-cop thing. I'm not anti-cop at all. Right, of course, yeah. But yeah, it was very eye-opening, and it was very difficult for being a survivor and feeling there's a reason why the catchphrase is "you're not alone," mm-hmm. because I truly felt so alone. I was like, oh my gosh, even the police don't have my back. No one has my back. This is so crazy. Isolating. It was very isolating. Yeah, but then I remember I spoke out on Facebook because I remember feeling very strongly that, thank God, I just know this was a God thing, that I had no shame. I fully knew that this was not me. This has everything, not to say there aren't things I could learn through it, obviously, but this is everything to do with him, and this is a damaged man who took out his own pain on my body, and thank God I was strong enough to handle it. Right. That's how I felt. But I felt so strong. I'm like, people need to hear this story because everybody takes Uber, everybody takes Lyft. Yeah, you need to warn people. Yeah. You know? Mm-hmm. So I told the whole story on Facebook and just a long post, and it just immediately got shared like all across my hometown. I started having strangers message me from like across the country telling me the same thing happened to them, mm-hmm. and they didn't have courage to talk about it until seeing my post. And mm-hmm. then I got connected with this incredible nonprofit called Pave, promoting awareness of victim empowerment. And they took on my case. They fully assigned me a detective that worked pro bono, did everything. Oh my God, I love this. Everything that my detective didn't do. And connected us with the media. And that's when I started doing all the interviews, like Good Morning America, The Today Show, Fox, CNN, like Crime Watch Daily. Every crime outlet or just news outlet you can think of, I did pretty much. Because the goal was to find him, you know? So I did the interviews, and obviously that opened up a whole other world. It was the most healing thing I could have ever done. I'm so glad. Yes. Yeah. I'm so, even just the Facebook post, because something like this thrives in the darkness. Mm-hmm. You know, that's what keeps people in their shackles. In their shame too. Yeah. In their shame. And the shame is a very powerful, powerful thing. Yeah. And as soon as you can release that to the light, then your healing comes instantly. And I was so happy to be even helping any survivors, even if it was one person. I was so grateful. I was like, this is why this happened to me, you know? And then, like, I don't want to. Did you get a lot of any pushback? Yeah. Like the non-believers. You know, I would say everybody from my immediate community was very supportive, because I think they all understood that. They're like, oh God, I take Ubers too, you know? Right. People could really picture themselves in my shoes, which I think made it a lot easier for them to believe me. Yeah. But yeah, if I read any of the comments on any of the news articles of people that didn't know me, mm-hmm. that was tough. Yeah. I saw red a few times when I would see some of those comments, like, because I was 28 when this happened. They're like, she's too old to be stumbling outside of a bar. Just,
oh, Jesus.
you know, like look what she was wearing. I wasn't even, whatever. Just talking about what I was wearing or something. You know, I wasn't even dressed. I literally was wearing a normal outfit that a 27-year-old would wear out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was it that helped you? Because you're like, when it was over, you were like, oh, I'm so ecstatic to be alive.
Mm-hmm.
Was there a fallout from that?
Oh, yeah. So that phase went away. I was so happy to be alive. And then I was like, oh, I'm like afraid to get my mail at night. And I'm afraid to even drive. Mm-hmm. Anytime I even hear the word Uber, it kind of makes me physically have a reaction.
Right.
Yeah. So it was a really strange process there. And that's when I got into therapy right away because I just knew, I was like,
good.
Even though I felt like I was fine because I was so grateful to be alive, I was like, I just want to, just in case there's any residual stuff floating around, I just want to get into therapy. And thank God I did because, lots of things came up, you know. I just anything where your safety's in jeopardy. It doesn't have to be like you're in an Uber. It's just I was just even driving, realizing, oh my gosh, at any moment in time I could get hit by a car and die. Just you realize how vulnerable you are. I clung onto my mace everywhere I went because you realize when you don't have how vulnerable you really are. Even if you think you're a strong woman, even if you're in karate, taekwondo, it doesn't matter. Unfortunately, this is something that I had to come to terms with. Is men, unfortunately, at the end of the day, are just physically stronger for the most part, even if they're a scrawny dude.
Yeah.
For
the most
biology,
part, man.
Biology. And that's not to say like go out there and learn your jujitsu and like whatever you can, but you even carry mace. Yeah. Like carry mace. You need, because if you're in a certain position where you can't get out of, like sometimes there's not a lot you can do once they have you in a certain position.
Right.
So
yeah, I think it's after like a traumatic, my husband and I went through something traumatic, and what I noticed is the PTSD would come up from a different way that had nothing to do with the incident. And suddenly I was afraid of flying. And I'm like, what? I've been flying. I'm a comic. I fly, you know what I mean? I'm on like 1,000 flights. Yeah. And suddenly I had a new fear of, and it is because it's like anything that could be safety.
Yes.
Swimming in the ocean. Now I'm afraid of sharks.
Exactly.
So like everything just like
amplifies it. Yeah. Just even that's why getting my mail at night and like when it was dark.
Yeah.
It's like an extreme paranoia. I was convinced at one point that someone was staking out my apartment because they were the same ethnicity as my rapist. And they were just parked in a way and sitting outside of their car, like looking at me. And I was convinced it was the brother of the rapist who was trying to send me a message, like, I know where you live. Because he had my driver's license at one point. So he did know where I live.
That's what I was going to
ask. So I had to get my locks changed and everything. But to this day, I still have no clue if that person was actually a threat or not. I have no clue. I remember he drove out, I took a picture of his license plate. But to this day, I'm like, the extreme paranoia, it takes over and you don't know what a real threat is and what is not a threat.
You can't decipher.
Yeah. You have no,
I also think a lot of when I was talking to a therapist when she was on, we were talking about PTSD. I'll send it to you. It's about trauma response and stuff. And the way she just wrote me an email and I'm like, this should be published. It shouldn't be an email sent to me. It can't be lost on me, you know? But we were talking about it and she goes, the thing with PTSD is it's usually not even the act, which is what you're saying. It's not even the act of violence or something happening or something horrific happening. It's what happens in the aftermath and whether you're not believed or like, I know women who've given birth and like they had a terrible experience, but then the people in the room were like, well, it didn't seem that bad. And she's like, oh, I almost died. And so it's like people not believing and what that does. And it just creates, that's where the shame just keeps festering and building and building and building over and over again.
Yeah.
Because she goes, sometimes no matter how horrific the event is, if somebody steps up immediately and is like, this is not okay and protects the victim and then puts the blame where it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
Then suddenly it's not that horrific of a memory.
Yeah, exactly. I've heard that too, that whoever the first person you tell about your assaults, it greatly depicts whether you choose to go forward in a positive way and maybe file a police report or whatever it is, or close up and all sorts of other problems happen. There's like a lot of like addiction, like people who have eating disorders, all kinds of addictions, because because assault is all about control and losing your sense of control, you're trying to get control back in any way you can. So whether that's controlling your eating habits, I will say I became very addicted to the gym, which obviously is a healthy, like, okay, it was healthy, but I got pretty small, I think, for my size, for what I, should have been.
Right.
And I didn't even realize it in the moment because it's very subconscious, but you're just trying to find any way to grasp onto any sense of control.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah. It's really strange.
So then a year later, you found out that there were other victims?
Yeah.
So how fast, I mean, I know the wheels of justice move very slowly. So how fast did you get a name?
Pretty quick, actually. So he was doing the same thing, and that's how he got caught. So it took a while for it to go through CODIS, the DNA.
You're right.
So luckily there was other victims that also got the rape kit, thank God. And so it just took a while for it to go through CODIS and came back, and it hit to him, and they just went and got him. Yeah, and they just picked him up, and I remember she called me. I was assigned a new detective. It was a woman. Thank God.
And this is through Pave.
What?
The new detective.
No. Like then the actual LAPD did.
Got it.
So I guess that guy either quit or was fired, or who knows.
So you got a new one.
Yeah, I got a new one. She was great.
Okay.
And so she took over and called me with those news just out of nowhere. It was like a random, I don't even know, like a random Saturday or something. And I just remember getting this call in the middle of the day. And she like asked if I was sitting down. And then, oh gosh, I can't even think about it because it was just her telling me that there was, one, I think we found him. And two, there's 6 other women. On one hand, I was so happy that he was found. On the other hand, I was devastated that this happened. Ugh, it's like hard to talk about.
Yeah, that's okay.
Happened to more people than just me,
Right.
Because I think he really had me fooled that maybe I was the only one. You really do think you are the only one, but most of the time there's more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when she told you that, when the trial and stuff happens, or was it, did he?
It only just happened like last year.
Oh, dang.
Like 2 years ago.
Okay.
2 years ago, yeah.
Were a lot of the other stories similar?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And in fact, I think a lot of the other ones were a lot worse, I want to say. You don't want to compare. It's not, mine was awful. Right. But I mean, as far as how I switched it around, the psychology of it and got him to start crying, I think that was, I don't think I heard that in any of the other stories. But I just think a lot of them, as far as just how it went afterwards, just wasn't great for them mentally. They kind of struggled for a long time.
Yeah.
Like maybe they didn't get therapy or whatever it was. It really messed them up for sure. Yeah.
Did they all give victim impact statements?
Most of them did. Yeah.
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 And he got life.
He got life.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
It's so crazy. And that never happens. It never happens.
It never happens. Like,
never.
It's, what is it? I think the stats are like
less than 10%.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's only because there's that many of us. If it was just one of us, I don't know if it would have gone that way.
Right.
And that's also kind of sad because it's like, oh, so terrible. We needed there to be 7 of us in order for you to, get a lot of jail time.
Did you ever get to talk to that first detective that thought you were lying?
No.
Do you want to say? I'm just kidding. Do you want to say a message to her? Sir,
you're wrong.
You didn't do your job.
You messed with the wrong girl. No.
Yeah. So how's life now?
Everything's great now. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. Everything that I thought of during the assault of, what I wish I had done by that point in my life has now happened. I'm now married to an amazing man, and I have a almost 2-year-old now. So yeah, it's really just turned my life around completely. I mean, it came at a time that I didn't really have a lot of purpose. I didn't really know what exactly I was doing.
Right.
So it gave me a ton of purpose at that time. And
question about Frank, the boyfriend that you were with. Did he feel like so
very
much guilt?
Yes.
Oh, poor guy.
Yeah, and he actually came to the court date that was a couple of years ago, and he met my husband, and my husband thanked him for at least being there for me at that time, and he just formally apologized to me then, saying he carried guilt with him all these years about not picking me up. And it wasn't his fault, but he's a great guy, Frank.
Oh, Frank.
Great guy, Frank. But,
Frank. Yeah. Oh, that's so crazy. So what would you say is the funniest lesson that you learned through all of this? I mean, this is such a hilarious topic.
I know. It's so funny.
So funny.
Yeah. It's so funny because I always do lean on my comedies. Yeah. So to have something like this happen, it's just so strange because people don't know how to take it. And then I throw in awkward jokes in it and they're like, I don't really want to laugh at this. The funniest lesson.
And sometimes it doesn't have to be actually funny. Like it can be like, the irony of it all or something.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like Jesus. Honestly, I just have to point it back to God and Jesus. Like, I just know that.
This made you more spiritual.
Yeah, I would say, because I know that he can take anything and turn it into something good. So I just knew that there was an opportunity when I went through it to turn it around and use it for something that he wanted me to use it for. And I just immediately knew that my whole life was preparing me for that moment. Like I went through some other stuff when I was growing up. I had like 3 back surgeries that were very intense and, parents got divorced, nothing crazy, but still some things that I experienced at a young age that, I think just kind of made me strong, resilient, less likely to blame myself, So I think I just came out guns blazing. Like, this has nothing to do with me. Yeah. This is all about him. We need to talk about this.
Yeah.
This is right before Me Too. So luckily, right after it happened, it was a few months after that Me Too happened. And I was like, oh,
thank God.
Thank God. Just take it off me. I don't have to do all this work on my own. I felt like I was just like shoveling at this thing.
Yeah.
Trying to get
and
more
now
eyes
you have like
on
a
it.
community.
Yeah. And now it's like, okay, everybody gets it. Now it happens to 1 in 4 people. And, anyone that you can think of has been assaulted at this point. Like, I only thought it happened to a certain type of person, which I think is also something that we kind of grew up believing, that it only happened to someone who was, like drinking and drug problems. They're very promiscuous. They always put themselves in bad situations.
Right.
There's kind of this idea, this mold. And I don't think I fit any of that mold. It was just simply a one-off night out with friends and that it just happened. And so that was very eye-opening to feel like I was on one side of the fence and now I'm on the other side of the fence.
Right.
Seeing all these issues in society I had no idea were there.
I know. And then once you see it, you're like, oh, I can't turn a blind eye to it.
Yeah. And even that nanny boss that I had, I actually saw her and her kids a couple of years after it happened. I was out in Santa Monica, like the outdoor, like beachy park thing with like the rings, and her kids were like, on the rings, and I was standing right there, and I saw them, and my heart just instantly started beating so fast. And my friends I was like, we gotta go, because it's crazy how that wasn't even a dangerous situation, but my body took that as a dangerous situation because it was a very damaging thing what she did to me. And it was at a very vulnerable time. So it got etched in my brain as, this is dangerous. We need to get out of here.
Because it's that person's response to this that was not helpful.
Yeah. And it caused me so much damage. So my body was instantly like, get away from this person. This person really damaged you. So it's strange. Assault is a very weird thing. Yeah. Trauma itself is just a very strange thing.
How long have you been nannying for her?
I nannied then, this was a while ago. I nannied for like 3 years.
For that family?
No. So that family, at that time I was only with them for a few weeks, but everything was going great up until that point. Our kids loved me. But
then also think about like coming out of the rape and being like, now I have to go look for a fucking job. Yeah. That's wild. Exactly. I don't have the mental capacity right now to go look for a job in this, but like to go from that.
Yeah. But then I was so terrified to tell my next employer about what happened. I ended up working for this other nanny family for 3 years. And I was so terrified to tell her what happened, even though I became very close with the mom. But then I had more interviews that were kind of coming in. And the way interviews are, it's a very spur of the moment. It was like, can you be here tonight to shoot a segment tonight? Right. And so I'd be nannying and I realized, I was like, I have to tell her I need to leave. And I don't want to lie. I remember being so terrified to even tell her that I need to leave because I'm going to do a news segment because I was raped like last year and I'm okay. I promise I'm okay. I'm still good to take care of your kids.
Right.
But,
how did she respond?
She was great. She was great. So it was so validating. I was like, thank God.
But it's like what you said. It's like when the first person you tell,
exactly,
which she might not have been the first person, but when the first person you tell, an employer, and then that's their response.
So, this isn't safe now.
Layer on layer on layer on layer of shame and secrecy. Yeah. Oh my God.
So that just is a point to anybody. If anybody ever tells you that they've been assaulted, obviously believe them.
Right.
And
support
if they need a few days off, give them a few days off.
Yeah. But don't fire them.
Don't fire them, maybe,
Yeah.
Because at that point, I understand her. She was being a protective mama bear, but at the same time, I was way more, if anything, I was way more aware of my safety because I was so paranoid. Yeah. So I was definitely going to make sure nothing happened to those kids, but I get it. I don't have harbor any resentment towards her. But. That's
actually a really good funny thing is the irony of that, just the full circle that you ended up seeing her again and you're like, your body's giving you warnings about her. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to share?
I'm like, what else would I'm trying to think of like, were there any funny moments? Not really. I just think dating was weird afterwards, for sure.
Yeah. Have you ever been in an Uber since?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I had to face it eventually.
I was going to say my therapist at a certain point is like, you have to do this one thing, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, all right.
I think I actually got in an Uber or Lyft like 2 weeks after it happened.
Really?
Just, I had to. It was
force yourself. Yeah.
I had to. And you can't be scared forever.
Right.
But.
Or maybe it's like a plane crash. Right? When you're like, well, if I escape a plane crash, I know I'm good for the next.
I should be good for the next several. Yeah. For the rest of my life.
That's a terrible funny thing.
That
I just came up with.
Yeah. That's horrible. Pretty terrible.
It's terrible. It's fucking compared it to a fucking plane crash.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So dating was weird.
Yeah. Dating was very weird. I remember because I was not ashamed about what happened to me. So I was almost very like, yeah, if you Google my name, you might find some stuff. I was very unashamed about it.
Yeah.
And I remember
how long were you still with Frank after?
Frank and I dated for 6 months, I think.
Okay.
So we dated it wasn't anything to do with the assault.
That's what I was going to ask.
It kind of just wasn't, we just weren't right for each other.
Right.
But I remember going on dates after, and it was like in the thick of all the interviews. And I remember going on a date with this one guy, and we watched like a stand-up show somewhere, and everything was going great on the date. Everything was great. Up until I remember one of the comedians made a joke about Harvey Weinstein or something. Mm-hmm. And this guy straight up asked me, because he saw me, I think my reaction was a little like, ooh, or something. And I remember he said, oh, like, have you ever been assaulted? Like, he's like casually, he's like, have you ever been like assaulted or anything? I was like, because I was so unashamed to talk about it, I was like, actually, crazy story, but yes, I was. And that's usually not first date conversations. And I had to learn that. I wasn't
just groped, dude. Yeah. Like,
so it's I was straight up raped by an Uber driver. Like, it's fine.
Serial rapist.
Yeah, serial rapist. But I'm good. I promise I'm good.
Scouting the bars.
Like, don't have any lingering problems or anything.
Yeah.
But I just was unashamed to talk about it. And I told him the whole story. And I was very like, I was confident. I was just telling the story. Like, this is what happened. And I just remember it got very awkward after that. And then suddenly the date kind of ended and it was like a hug and goodbye. And I was like, this is interesting. Because I knew before that conversation, he was very into it. And then suddenly he was not.
Really?
And
I'd love to pick his brain and be like, what were you?
Yeah. And you know what I realized? I was just laughing about that. And I was like, it's so funny. I was like, you're not even the one that went through it. If you can't even handle hearing it, like, honestly, you're kind of
not
a huge wimp,
dude.
Like, pussy. Like, sorry,
you're a pussy. Yeah,
you're a pussy. But like, if I'm the one that went through it, and I'm sitting here like boldly saying what happened, I'm in my strength, I'm good with it, and you can't even handle hearing it.
Yeah,
like, what does that say about you?
Boy,
like,
bye.
I was like, ooh, yeah, I don't want to be with that person anyway. But it was very eye-opening, and it made me very angry. I was like, oh my gosh, like, people are going to think I'm damaged goods or something. Like, I came out stronger. So many things in my life improved after that. Yeah. That the thought that anyone feels like damaged goods or would treat someone like damaged goods.
Insane.
is so crazy to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because going through that is what makes you a better person. Like iron sharpens iron, or I mean, that's not the right phrase, but what's the pressure makes diamonds,
Yeah.
Just going through those rough things are what is going to make you a better person at the end of the day. So
yeah. Dude, thank you for sharing that. That's fucking amazing.
Yeah, of course. Anytime.
Yeah. Are you still working with Pave? Do you work with Pave?
I do. So I do. I kind of work with them a little here and there and like do some volunteer work, a little ambassador stuff. And I've done like a few interviews since. The girl that was murdered, I actually spoke out on her behalf on like a Fox interview a few years after. So I'll always kind of plug in Cave. I'll always plug in Pave, for interviews like that.
Yeah.
But they're just an incredible organization. They work with survivors that just aren't really feeling supported, and then they'll take on their case. And they've worked with, like Harvey Weinstein survivors and like Larry Nassar, and they do a lot of Hollywood stuff, and they're so phenomenal. Angela Rose is the founder, and she actually officiated our wedding.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I love that.
This is a very full circle moment.
Yeah.
And yeah, she's just incredible.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you for sharing. Do you want people to follow you on anything?
Yeah, you could follow me on Carla files. Carla with a C.
Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, guys. Thank you guys again. Of course, you can follow me at The Funny Thing Is Podcast on all socials, along with at Nicole Birch Comedy, or you can go to NicoleComedy.com, and we will see you again next week. Stay safe out there. Bye-bye. Yay. Do you have any tips for people doing rideshare?
Yes. I would say there's the obvious of checking the license plate, but also making sure it's the exact same make and model, same color, same driver. So often it'll be a completely different person than who's in the picture. Oh, and that's a big red flag. Yeah. That person probably wasn't approved to be there.
Right.
All kinds of sketchy things are revolving that. Another thing you can do, make sure when you get in the car, I believe there's also a button you could press to make sure you're not, the child safety lock is not on.
Okay.
So then you're not trapped in the car.
That's a good one.
When you get in the car, you can tell the driver, you can ask the driver, who are you here for? So they're forced to give you your name rather than the other way around.
I do that all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, you here for Nicole?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So many people do.
Yeah.
Share your ride with a friend. On the app, you can share it with someone to make sure that they're clocking the whole
That's
ride.
A newer feature.
Yeah. So that's a good one. Ride with a friend if you can. Don't be separated at the end of the night if you can. Just be aware, be present in the car. Don't fall asleep in the car, as obvious. And if you can avoid drinking too heavily to where you can't pay attention to what's going on. Obviously Ubers and Lyfts are designed for that. Yeah. Probably the biggest percentage of people are taking Ubers and Lyfts because they're going out drinking. Right. So in my opinion, I think the app should be, since that's their demographic, they should be catered towards those
and the safety people around that.
So I do think it could be safer, but I think those things in general should help a lot. And just being whenever you're present and showing that person that you're paying attention, you're not just sitting on your phone scrolling. I know that that's very tempting, but just taking a second to clock your surroundings, that's huge in whether they choose if they want to attack you or not. Yeah. I think there's been studies done on that if they can tell that you're aware, then you're not an easy target.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, awesome. Thank you. That's great. That's great. Yes. Perfect.